It's Jurassic World Evolution 3 release day. If you're looking to pick up this game, there is an affiliate link in the description of this video. Using that link to buy the game will support the channel. Thank you so much for your support. Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome to Jurassic World Evolution 3. This is our attempt at some sandboxy stuff using the new piece-by-piece building in the game. I say attempt, I don't know how long, I don't know whether this is going to be a series or just a few one-off builds. We'll see. The reason is that the building system is fairly powerful. You can pretty much do everything you can do from the Planet series of games, so it's mostly based around a gridded system for walls and floors, and then you can go in with scenery pieces and add those in and move them around with full sort of 360 movement. It also has the scaling from Planet Coaster 2, which is, well, I say from Planet Coaster 2, we know it from Planet Coaster 2. These games are most likely in development at the same time. Which is the reason I'm kind of struggling a little with this, to be honest, because they play very differently, even though they are in many ways a very similar game. Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo, Jurassic World Evolution, they're all sort of, you know, movements of a theme, and I wish they would sort of work a little bit similar, each of them, really. I've really struggled with this. I'm kind of happy with what I built in the end. It's not the best thing I've ever built, but I'm kind of happy with where we go with this. But my word, this is something that would have taken me 20 minutes in Planet Coaster 2, perhaps, and here this is, I think you're watching about 5 hours of gameplay. And yeah, it's tricky because the system itself is the same. As I said, you start with gridded buildings and then you add on scenery pieces, but for some reason the buttons are all different. So even though it works in the same way in that you can scroll through either advanced move, rotation, and now scale, in Planet Coaster, I actually can't remember. It's that C to scroll through those, and in this game it's F to scroll through those. And you have to, if you're selecting multiple pieces, you have to click confirm, which is just like how Planet Coaster 2 started. They actually got rid of that, but it's back in with this one. You have to click confirm to move a group of pieces, and it's little things like that make the workflow a lot slower if you're coming from a Planet background. Now, I do know that I would argue that probably Jurassic World Evolution is the one game in the series, sort of in Frontier's sort of library, that maybe doesn't have as much crossover as, say, Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo does have. So there'll be people watching this who only play Jurassic World, and they're like, well, why stop going on about it, Planet Coaster player, get a grip. And yeah, I kind of agree with you, to be honest. I should get a grip. This is a different game. It does have in some ways a different audience, but it is a little frustrating to see all of the incredible tools come over from other games in the developers sort of ecosystem, and it just works so differently. I don't know. Obviously different teams work on different stuff, but at this point I feel like they would save a lot more resources if all of this stuff just sort of was copacetic and worked together and did the same. I don't know. I'm not a game dev. Maybe this is how it has to go, but I'm very much hoping for some changes to how this works, so that at least I can keybind the stuff. Like, you don't have to change how the game works, just let me pick what letter key I press to make some of that stuff happen, and I would be able to make it a little bit more like Planet Coaster and be able to work back and forth between the two a little easier. I think it's probably a me problem as well, that I'm just not able to necessarily store different ways to play games in my head at once. I kind of get into one or two games, and that's all I can kind of keep in my brain. I've seen some incredible stuff go out this weekend. I'm doing the voiceover just after the game has launched for this, even though I built this during playtest, because I kind of wanted to see what other people are doing, see if other people were having a similar issue to me. And yeah, pretty much all the Planet players have said similar to me. Why are the keybinds different? That makes no sense. Why does this do this? That makes no sense. It probably does make sense if you're not coming at it from a Planet point of view. But then other people have been able to really get into it. You go and look at Estan, for instance, has built this incredible beginning of a wilderness style resort, and it's, you know, really really a fantastic build, and doesn't seem to have struggled with the controls anywhere near as much as I have. But then looking at people like Mass Bandit and a few others have said similar to me, in that it's pretty fun, but it's a little jarring to come into such a different control method. Saying all of that, we're halfway through the video, so let's completely turn and talk about the good stuff in this game, because it really does have some incredible features. First of all, it's just the amount of pieces is mind-blowing. I've not done a count on them, but there just seems to be way more pieces in this game. The textures are fantastic. It's definitely got a more sort of realistic look to it, which is amusing considering it's it's dinosaurs. You know, it is a sci-fi game after all, really, if you think about it. But the textures are very realistic. I do think it's a detriment to it when it comes to the guests in the park. They just kind of like amble around and they look a little bit dead behind the eyes. I do prefer the more stylistic approach to the guests in the Planet games, but as far as the textures go, as you can see here, they really are sort of second to none. That goes through all of the scenery pieces, foliage as well, all just looks beautiful. The foliage does have a similar issue to Planet Coaster 2 in that its LODs are really quite ridiculous. You know, as soon as you start to zoom away from something, it starts to squish it down, especially, you know, things like the rhododendrons have very similar issues in this as they do in Planet Coaster 2, but the textures on them are really great. The ground textures are fantastic, and there's just a lot more stuff, a lot more like realistic focus stuff. There's hundreds of different AC units and stairwells and ladders and back behind the scenes pots and barrels and all that kind of stuff. There really is a lot of stuff here to play around with, and I'm very excited to dive into it a little bit more once I've kind of got the controls down. So I tried to keep the build fairly simple here, and I wanted to kind of go for like a wilderness vibe. I was actually it made me giggle when I saw Restan stuff come out today. I was like, oh, that's kind of what I'm trying to hear as well. That sort of Alpine Lodge look. I just thought it'd be something fun to try and do in the Jurassic World I guess. I really love the Jurassic Park vibe, that original sort of thatch roofs and stuff, and I probably will look at building some stuff in that style as well. But yeah, I thought one of the first things I wanted to try and do was, it was when I saw one of the original demos for the game, or one of the original trailers, and there's like an Alpine Lodge hotel. I was like, oh, that's a really interesting idea for a build style, because I thought about it and I thought, well, this kind of, you know, if this did exist in real life, and there's that meme, isn't there, about like my red flag would be that I'd still go Jurassic Park if it existed in real life. But if it did in real life, it would be a nature reserve, really, and it would be an incredibly large place with a lot of land, and the places that can kind of happen are either something more like a safari kind of thing in sort of deserty places, or, you know, somewhere up north where there's just a lot of land that isn't really usable for much else. And I thought, well, that would be quite a fun way. Then let's see if we can do a Canadian style, the sort of thing that you would find up in the northern territories of Canada. So that's why we've picked this biome. It is actually a Canada map. It does snow here. In fact, it actually snowed when I first started. I had to pause the game to play the game for like 2 days just till the snow went away. At the moment, as far as I can tell, I can't see any controls to adjust the weather. So every time it goes snowy, we might just have to sit it out, just like real life, I guess. Originally, the Jurassic Canada Park was down below there, but I think it needed something a little bit more prominent at the top. And then we sort of box in the building, and then this is the entrance area. Then that's what the helicopters are there. The guests come in via helicopter in this game, just like the movies, the original movie at least. So the helicopters come and land every now and again and drop guests off. The guests in this game, they just kind of mill about the path, guests and staff, and depending on the buildings you have, depend on the sort of people that form and sort of populate the space. If you only just sort of have science buildings, you'll only really get scientists and ranger staff potter about, but as soon as you start building just more viewing areas for dinosaurs and like gift shops and stuff, then you start getting regular tourists as well. There's some really nice features with the building. Windows can have these sort of parallaxed interiors on them, which look really great for buildings on the ground level, especially. Chairs and tables can be populated by guests, even though they it just sort of fills them in with guests sitting at them. They don't walk from the path to sit and then leave again. They are very the guests are for show in this game, basically. All of the information about how happy they are, how much money they're spending, is all just sort of spreadsheet based. The actual guests in the game, they just sort of potter about and fill the space you're building. But like I said, they do go and sit on chairs and what have you, and that is quite a nice touch. I do like that, seeing the spaces. Even if you build chairs sort of up on like a balcony level or something, you haven't got to actually get that balcony level down to path. It'll just populate them with guests as the game gets played. So here we go then. We're filling in some areas around the helicopters then with some safety netting, and then we do a little bit of foliage there just to try out some of the new flary areas. And yeah, this is the entrance area to what will be a little mini-series at least. Next episode, we'll throw some dinos down. Obviously, that's, they are the attractions. Are you going to have any dinosaurs in your dinosaur theme park? Of course, Dr. Ian Malcolm, the answer is yes. Just not in part 1. We had to build the entrance plaza because, for me at least, the interesting thing about this game is going to be that piece-by-piece building system, because that's what we love from Frontier, that's what we love from the Planet games, and that's what I want to see what we can do with on this larger scale, slightly more realistic looking textures, to see if we can do some fun stuff. This one was a little bit of a headbanger. I have been banging my head against this one a little bit. It's actually the second time I tried a build like this to bring to you in my early access period of the game. And this is the first one I'm sort of happy with sharing. And like I say, it isn't my best work. I feel like I could have done this quicker and better in Planet games, but if this is the sort of thing you want to see more of, let me know in the comments, and I will push forward with it and see if I can get those new keybinds down. Here's a couple of glamour shots for you as well. If you're looking at picking up this game yourself, there's a link in the description. That is an affiliate link. It does give the channel a little kickback. Appreciate you all to bits. Till the next one, be good.